Everyone keeps saying, be authentic, be the best you, sound like yourself. But the real question is, what does it really mean to be authentic? Do you have to fake it till you make it? Do you have to sound like the future you? All of these and more we will be discussing in today's episode of the DFY Show. Welcome to the DFY Show, where we empower entrepreneurs, professionals, and business owners with valuable resources to accelerate their growth and unlock your full potential. I'm your host, Damilola Felicia Badmus, and in each episode, we will dive into the strategies, insights, and success stories that drive personal and business growth. Whether you're looking to level up your branding, master marketing techniques, or embrace entrepreneurship, the DFY Show is your one-stop destination for inspiration and knowledge. So grab your pen and papers and let's dive in. What is an episode without having to say thank you? I really want to say a big thank you to everyone that has been streaming live back to back. I've been getting a lot of reviews on Instagram, in my DM, in my audio events, and I just want to say a very big thank you. And a major announcement. I just passed 200k followers on LinkedIn. Yeah! So please clap for me. I'll clap for myself before you do. So it's been an amazing journey so far, to be very honest. LinkedIn has been really amazing. It has really taught me a lot of things, but I think that conversation is going to be for another day. I just want to say thank you so much for always playing this podcast, for always resharing it, for always learning a thing or two from it. I see your reviews, but I really want you to please just ensure that you click on the like button, either you're listening via Spotify, via Google, via Apple Podcasts and other podcasting platforms. Please just try as much as possible to give a review there so that we can have other people get to see the show and also learn a thing or two from there. So today we are having that conversation. What does it really mean to be authentic? You know, I really had this thing in my head about talking about this topic, but I felt, is it really necessary or it's not necessary? But I said, you know what, Dami, just go for it. I was supposed to talk about that last week, but I just had to switch the episode, and today my mind would just let me rest. I said, okay, let's have this conversation. Because I get to see it a lot of times that we keep saying, oh, be yourself, be authentic, show up as the real you. But then I get to ask questions like, when they say be the real you, what does that even mean? And I probably thought about it that people might think that, okay, be yourself mean that you have to be mediocre. No, it does not really work like that. For me, because I really sat down to write down this topic and also just make a few research, because being authentic has to do with you yourself. It also has to do with how you show up on social media and also how you show up in real life. Now, being authentic also means that you are working within your value system. But before I even start talking about what being authentic mean, when I check the dictionary and also different definition of being authentic, what does it have to say? Now, being authentic means the quality of you being genuine or being real. So that means that when you say you're authentic, it means that you're being yourself. It means that you are not trying to be somebody that you are not. Another definition also says that being authentic means living your life according to your own values and your goals rather than those of other people. And I think that I've seen a lot of people make this mistake, because if somebody is doing something, let's say, for example, you are just new to social media, you are new to creating content, or let's say you are even new in business, and you know your capacity, you know that there are some things that some business owners are doing that you don't have the capacity to do it yet, but still you go ahead to do it. That means that you are not being authentic. Yes, you might want to strive for more, but I've come to realize that if you are not honest with yourself, if you don't really sit down to say, this thing I want to do, does it really align with my values? Does it really align with my goals? Does it really align with who I want to become? People like that who do that tend to have issues at the end of the day. They might not have the issues now, but they might get to the point where they just sit down and they start being a shadow of themselves. So what I wrote down in my notes is that being authentic means that you're walking within your value system, meaning that you have a value system. Is it being honest? Is it being straightforward? Is it being someone that people can look up to? So your value system really matters. If you're someone that don't like to lie, and then you're trying to copy people that lie a lot, by the time you start doing things that doesn't really align with your value system, that means that you're not being authentic. Being authentic also means that you're being honest with yourself and you're not trying to be someone else. It means that you're recognizing your weakness, you're recognizing your strength, and then you're using your weakness and your strength more like a SWOT analysis to your advantage. Now, I'll try to make a quick example. When I started out on LinkedIn, I knew that doing some certain things, I was not going to be ready for it. So I just worked in my own space. As a matter of fact, I think Instagram would be a good option. So I just started becoming consistent on LinkedIn and posting more valuable content. Normally, I just use my Instagram for personal things, despite me being a brand consultant on LinkedIn. I just felt that I was not really ready to go through the path of Instagram. So when I took it upon myself to be very consistent on Instagram, I started looking at different coaches and people that are showing you the best way to use Instagram. And they're giving different opinions, different values. And I said, dummy, I really can't do this. I was a little bit frustrated. I was thinking of, okay, what's going to be the best camera position? What's going to be how I'm going to structure my content to ensure that I get the best value to people and also be value to myself as well. And I said, you know what? I'm not ready for this. Then I left Instagram for a while. So I got my ring lights. I got some few other lights just to add some colors to my background, more like LED light. Then I set up my room, put my lights in there, and I just made the content, just a random token content. And I realized that it's easier for me to just look into the camera and just say what I want to say without having to go through so many hassles, so many stress. And I felt and I realized that path that I took was very convenient for me. And so rather than me trying to be other people, yes, trying to copy other people's style is good because you're also trying to learn. But you sitting down to know where you are now, what are your available resources? I feel like when you understand that, it helps you become a better person and it helps you to know the next step of action. I also wrote here that being authentic means that you are allowing the Spirit of God to direct your path and give you direction on the way to go. I'm a Christian and my value system about my belief is very strong. And I also believe that the Holy Spirit is our guide and it helps us navigate life. So what do I mean? There are some people that just live life just like that without having to hear from God. Because one thing I've come to understand is that we all have seasons. There are some times for us to learn. There are times for us to just relax and watch things evolve. There are times for us to take action. And there are also times for us to withdraw. So you understanding the season that you are at. There was a time on LinkedIn that some people were reaching out to me. Oh, Dami, I want you to be involved in a speaking engagement. I want you to coach me. And I knew that I wasn't ready for that season. But when the time came for me to start taking up speaking engagements, I knew that I was ready. Not because I could not speak to people, but my time at that time, meaning my time constraints and my time schedule, did not permit me. And I didn't just want to be everywhere because I think at that time I was working on my book and also some other things in the background. So I just wanted to concentrate. So I said a lot of no's to speaking engagements. However, a time came, and that was after the book was out, and I decided to accept speaking engagements that came to my DM. So understanding your time and season as well can help you to sharpen how you live your life, because that way you understand that even if people are going the right way, if you're being told to stay in the left, you understand that it's just for a short time before you get to join the people that are on the right side. So now when talking about all of this, if I'm to say, what are the benefits of being authentic? Because some people think that, okay, being fake till you make it is the way to go. But I think that when you're also yourself, though you might not end up being everybody, but there are just some benefits about being yourself. There's just some benefits about you not trying to be somebody that you're not. So you're not white outside during the day, and you end up being black when you are in your home and when nobody is seeing you. So number one benefit of being authentic is trust and respect. Now, the thing is that when you're true to yourself, when you understand who you are, when you let people know that, you know what, these are my value systems, these are my beliefs, people will trust you because they will see that, okay, you are decisive, you know what you want to do, and at the end of the day, whatever decision that you make, it ends up being favorable for you. So trust and respect is one of the benefits of being authentic. Now, what is another benefit of being authentic? We have integrity. Now, when you're being authentic, you also have integrity, meaning that when you say yes, people believe it's yes. And when you say no, people understand that your no is your no. So your integrity, say for example, on my LinkedIn, some people just are used to maybe giving lies about the amount of leads they've gotten or the amount of money they've gotten in their accounts. And during marketing, they say that statistics is very important. But for me, mentioning of numbers, mentioning of the amount that I've gotten from a particular platform, or just making a whole lot of noise about my achievements has never been my style. And so because I uphold my belief system, I uphold all that is about me, I gradually built integrity. And many of my audience now studied who I am, and they know that this is how Dami is. So imagine I come out tomorrow to say, hey guys, I just made so amount of money, or I just start bragging about things that I normally don't say online before. My audience can get confused and be like, is this the Dami that we know? So your integrity really matters and can be upheld if you work in the line that you want to be in. Another benefit is that you have the ability to deal with problems. So meaning that when you're honest with yourself, like we said earlier, you can deal with your problems by being open. You know, there are some times that when you're lying or you're trying to be, you're not, and then a problem comes in. Normally, if you're being true to yourself and if other people know that your yes is your yes and your no is your no, it will be easy for you to deal with that particular problem. But if you're not being your authentic self, if you're not being who you really claim to be, then you trying to solve those problems might be difficult because you've been trying to give a particular appearance, you might not be able to give the kind of answer that you want to give, probably because it doesn't suit your personality or because you're scared of people seeing you in a different light. So when you're being authentic, you have the ability to deal with problems. You also realize your potential because when you are true to yourself, you can grow gradually. And I think I'll use myself as an example. Now, when I started on LinkedIn, normally I'm always a girl that just stays in her own space, though I can speak, but not as eloquent as I am now. And it was true during LinkedIn audio, practicing speaking frequently that helped me. And then that brought me to podcasting. And normally, I would never be so fluent talking to the back camera of my phone because, yes, I can do selfie videos because it's not hard. After all, I'm seeing myself. But me doing the Instagram video that I did with my back camera and me just speaking at once, it helped me. The practice of speaking so far has helped me to this point, meaning that I became more confident in how I speak and in how I spoke rather, and it just helped me have that good flow of words because I've already been speaking on podcasts and LinkedIn audio. So talking to the camera was no longer an issue. So building gradually, I didn't grow up or I didn't just say, I just want to go on Instagram the day I started LinkedIn. I allowed myself some time to grow. So I learned editing while I was doing LinkedIn. I learned being patient. I learned how to connect with your audience. And so all of these attributes really helped me in the video I did for my Instagram. So when you're being authentic, when you know when you're supposed to go somewhere, when you know when you're supposed to stop, it helps you to bring out the best in you because you're giving yourself time and you're also learning along the way, which also leads me to the next point, which is that being authentic helps your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And I think the last one for me would be less stress. I mean, if you're not lying to make a point, you wouldn't be stressed, right? Because when you're being your authentic self, you're not trying so hard to be someone that you're not. You know, I made mention of the fact that I was trying to check out some people's Instagram and trying to check how I can do their style of reels, and I got frustrated at a point. So when I just took it upon myself to do what I know how to do best, I became more comfortable. And because of that, I could even do things that are in my own style and in my own way. So now we want to ask you that question, that can you be authentic in different roles? Because you know that when we're in public, we act a different way. When we're with our family and friends, we act a different way. When we're at home, we act a different way. When we are at work or when we are even on social media, we act a different way. So my question is, can you be authentic in different roles? Let me know what you think in the comment section, or you just send me a DM on LinkedIn for us to just have the conversation. But maybe while you're going to send me the answer, I think I would just say mine. I think that in as much as we have different personalities because we are in different settings, your real authentic self should not be clouded away by your personalities. That means that you can still be in different roles and you still uphold the value system that you have. You still uphold the belief system that you have, and you still uphold the beauty of your integrity. So now, without any further ado, the question or the solution I have, or what can I even say? Or let me even say an advice or anything you want to call it that I have for you, just for you to learn or for you to teach somebody how to be authentic is this. For you to be authentic or for you to know how to be authentic, there are just different ways that I think that you can do that. And number one is to live by your values. So you have to have a very strong value system. That means that you should live according to what you believe in. And as a Christian, our values are being found in the Word of God. That means our Bible should be our guide. And that means we also need to identify, because being authentic is not done overnight, because you don't get to develop and you don't get to know yourself in one day. So it's progressive. And as you progress, you tend to understand what are my core values. You tend to walk within what you believe in. And that is one of the ways to be authentic. Another way to be authentic is to identify your gaps and also live with your integrity. We've said that before. Identify your gaps, meaning that if you find that something is not really working well for you, or you think that you are not acting the way you ought to, then you can just make a goal and say that, you know what, I really want to work by my values. I want to start developing a new habit so that I don't live a falsehood. Another way you can be authentic is to communicate honestly. Now, because when you communicate honestly with people, not only are you respecting their feelings, but you are also respecting yourself as well. So when you communicate with people, when you're being open, when you're not lying about who you're not, if they say that how many awards do you have and you don't even have a single one, and you start saying, oh yeah, I have like 5 awards, you're not communicating honestly. And by the time you start doing that, you start becoming a shadow of yourself. Another way that you can be authentic is to develop self-confidence, because self-confidence can really help in a lot of ways. And when you start growing in your self-confidence, you would now realize that there is no need to lie. There is no reason to pretend to be who I'm not, because being authentic requires a strength of character, especially when you're being pressured. So take, for example, you have a group of friends that are doing extremely well, and you've not even gotten to the level they want to, where you want to be, or you've not gotten to the level of where they are. By the time you start feeling pressured, it takes that strength, it takes that self-confidence that, you know what, I'm still going to get to be who I want to be. It takes that strength to say, no, I'm not going to bow to the pressure. I'm just going to be myself. And that is another important way to learn how to be authentic. Now, I'll be honest, it's usually better to understand your own values and your own strengths and then work hard to find opportunities where your strengths and your values really matter for success. Because some people feel like, okay, if I don't do like somebody else, I might not get the kind of results that I want to get. Which sometimes in some situation, it can be true, but it requires patience, it requires honesty, and it also requires diligence to ensure that you stay true to yourself and the values and the open doors will eventually come. Developing your authentic self is a lifelong journey, and to get started, I will just recap all that I've said. Number 1, you should identify your values and let the Holy Spirit be your guide. Number 2, you should identify who you want to be. Number 3, you should live with integrity. Number 4, communicate honestly. Number 5, don't make assumptions. Number 6, develop self-confidence. And number 7, manage your emotions. So I hope you've been able to learn something new. I had fun doing this because it's something that was really pressing to my heart, and I'm really glad that I've been able to share it with you. I hope you can get value from it, and I also hope that you'll be able to share it with somebody so that he or she can learn this. So thank you everyone for joining. Just a couple of things I also want to share with you before we call it a day. Now, I mentioned earlier about my Instagram, so kindly follow me on Instagram at Damilola_Badmus. So there are 2 underscores, Damilola_Badmus, or you just check Damilola Felicia Badmus, and hopefully you get to see my name. Don't also forget to follow me on LinkedIn at Damilola Felicia Badmus. And also, like I always say at every podcast, my company, Royal Brand Academy, helps individuals and businesses build their personal brand on LinkedIn. So if you're thinking of, I want to build my brand on LinkedIn, we can have a conversation. You can either visit www.royalbrandacademy.com, or you just send me a message on LinkedIn and we would be in touch. You can also get a copy of my book, How LinkedIn Works, on Amazon. Just type it there. You can see it, and just ensure you get a copy, and you can let me know if you have gotten your copy. So that will be all, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. And again, thank you so much for following me on LinkedIn. And if you haven't done so, don't forget to do that. Till I come your way again next time. Bye for now.